My sight went very slowly at first. I didn't even realize it. When I first noticed I was having trouble with my sight, I was already really twice over the legal limit for being blind. There were just less and less things I could do. I couldn't go out as much, or if I did, I needed assistance. There were just so many things I couldn't do. I just had a lot of anger building up. And I didn't even realize, I was that angry, but I started painting. I don't know, so much as an outlet or a way of defiance in a way. You know, it's something that is viewed as very visual. After a while, I started becoming less and less angry. The more I painted, the more, you know, I could let that out, and to where now it just, you know, I have to paint. You know, starting painting was sort of a crazy thing in a way. I mean, but I decided I just was going to do it. I couldn't write. You know, I didn't have a computer at the time that could read to me. I feel like if I didn't have some sort of creative outlet, I was going to go crazy. I just needed to put something out there. In a way, it was out of anger. I mean, it was a way of, like giving the middle finger to the universe or God or whatever you want to call it. You know, saying, well, I may not be visual, but I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to try. And I really didn't care what it looked like. I didn't care if it was visually appealing. I just wanted to do it. I thought the physical action of painting, of putting what's in my mind out there, actually in the physical world, even if no one else liked it, I wanted to create something like that. That's really what got me into it. And I went and got some oil paints and just started. I told my mom that I started painting, and she was like, "Oh, that's great." She was so worried when her and my dad came over one day, and she wanted to be so supportive, you know, she didn't want to let me down, but she was so relieved when she looked at it. She liked it, and she actually liked it. The reason I lost my vision is I have a seizure disorder. I've had it ever since I was a kid. The seizure will start in the front, and it'll hit the back where the occipital lobe is, because you actually see back here. The optic nerve travels from your eyes around to the very back. So that my eyes work, I get light in, but the brain, the part that deciphers the image, doesn't know what to make with it. So it's sort of like a TV that you have on, but there's no signal, there's no antenna or cable or anything attached. So it's just like it's just snow. It's just from the seizures, which is rare, it turns out. So, but if you have enough of them, you know, it'll do it. The main problem when doing a painting, if you can't see it visually, is keeping oriented on the canvas and knowing exactly where you are and what you've done. I've always drawn using pencils or pens, but you can't feel pencils or pen strokes once you've put them down. And so I started using Elmer's glue because it dries and it's hard, but Elmer's glue takes about a day to dry. So whenever you make one line, you've got to wait about a day to go back and fill it again. So then I started using whiteout, the whiteout pen, and that makes a very nice line that you can fill. But if you paint it on canvas, over time it seeps into the canvas, so your drawing will disappear. And now I used this stuff called slick paint, and it dries really, really fast. It doesn't disappear, it stays there, and you can fill it. And it orients you to the painting. And that's really all you need. That's all a person's eyes do whenever they're painting. Probably the next hardest thing was colors. But with oil paint, the great thing about oil paints is that they're all made with different substances, and it gives them a different viscosity and a different texture. The white, it almost feels like caulk or toothpaste. It's very thick, very viscous. And black is almost runny. It still has a thickness to it, but compared to white, it's almost like oil. If you were to mix half white and half black, the feeling and the viscosity is somewhere halfway in between. So you can just start working from there. Sometimes I'll decide on a color just because I like the way it feels. When I first started, I painted very slowly. I would make a small sketch and it would take me 8 hours to make one little sketch. I've sped up quite a bit. And part of it is just I can remember a lot more. Like whenever my hand goes over the drawing, I can feel the lines, and then I remember where they are, and then my other, over time I've learned to follow it a little bit more exact. One hand sort of to see the canvas, and the other hand to fill in the paint.